Hi, this is Michael Azarad, Editor-in-Chief of the Talkhouse, and welcome to the Talkhouse Music Podcast. Back in the early 70s, Texan singer-songwriter Ray Wylie Hubbard was a key part of the progressive country movement. He even had a hit with the honky-tonk anthem Up Against the Wall, Redneck Mother, and hung out with people like Willie Nelson, Jerry Jeff Walker, and Waylon Jennings. He went on to pioneer something called cowpunk, and over the years has made a long string of beloved albums that fuse outlaw country, blues, and vintage R&B. His latest album, The Ruffian's Misfortune, came out this spring, and he's got a memoir coming up too, and that should be really good. Erika Wennerstrom sings and plays guitar and keyboards with the great Heartless Bastards, whose new album, Restless Ones, came out June 15th. Erika is from the Badlands of Ohio, or at least Dayton and Cincinnati. Her band has threads of garage rock, blues, and country, so there's a little overlap with Mr. Hubbard's music. The main thing is, they're both really good songwriters and fans of each other's stuff, as you'll soon see. A little while back, Erika and Ray sat down in an Austin hotel room and talked shop. These two were really curious about each other and they asked a lot of good questions. At one point, Ray paid Erika a great compliment. Then there's a little pause in the conversation. That's Erika weeping because she was so moved by Ray's words. Here we go.
Why don't we start with Jim Eno's place, where you recorded?
Or we were, when I met you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great spot.
Yeah. Well, how did that happen with you recording there? Because that's a great studio. I can't. It's something like what's it called?
Public Hi-Fi.
Public Hi-Fi. Yeah.
Well, Jim was friends with our former manager, and they had talked about us working together, and we met Jim and really admire things he's done within his own band, and I thought he did a great job with the Black Joe Lewis record he had done at the time.
Yeah, so. For a drummer, he's, besides being a great drummer, he also has like a great sonic ear of something, I don't know how to describe it, but he just, he's more than just a drummer, as far as his knowledge about recording. Yeah,
I think that he has a lot to do with crafting the Spoon songs together with Britt. They've worked together the whole time Spoon's been together.
Now, when you went in there to record, did you have the songs already together, or did you do a lot of stuff in studio?
Um
like going in with the band, like road testing them, I guess is what I mean. Like going to writing a song, playing them in front of people, and then going in and recording that, or did you?
Well, I had them together for the most part. Words are a real struggle for me. The
words are.
Yeah.
My friend Kevin Welch. Kevin Welch.
That name sounds so familiar. He's local, right? Here in Austin.
He lives down in Wimberley.
Okay.
Yeah. He's.
Does he have a brother, Dustin Welch?
Well, that's his son.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and Savannah Welch is his daughter. They're great. Yeah, and Kevin has this deal, like he says, if he's writing us, which I've stolen and actually applied to my songwriting, he says, if I get stuck, I just lower my standards, rhyme the damn thing, and go get some sleep. Which, that's what you got to do,
Yeah, I'm sort of consistently working on new ways to try to be a little more productive in that realm.
When you write, like sometimes I find myself, it's such a joy and an anguish. You anguish over it to get it right, but then it's a joy when it works. But it seems like, that even if I get the inspiration, no matter what else I'm doing, somewhere over in my head, I'm working on that song, like if I'm driving.
Yeah.
And I'm going da-da-da-da-da, I'll sing that, or if I'm, seem like I'm always.
It's hard to shut that off.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It is. Now, when did you get into music? When did you?
Oh, gosh. I've wanted to sing since I was old enough to think about doing anything, I think.
Really?
Yeah. I might have been 3, and I would walk around the house like, I'm going to be a singer when I grow up.
Was your family musical?
No, not really.
Mine wasn't either.
Yeah.
Mine was not either.
What about you? What when you
Oh, well, you know, growing up, of course, there was I grew up in southeastern Oklahoma in a very rural part, and you know, growing up had a little country western station there to play Lefty Frizzell and Hank Williams, and you know, the typical country guys, but then they would, you know, have gospel music going to church, and so that's when I kind of first realized how, you know, especially in church and the choir and the gospel and the singing and the yelling and the whooping and the hollering.
Oh, yeah.
How powerful it was. And so, but nobody in my family was really musical, you know. And then then I got, you know, and we moved to Dallas. My dad was a teacher, English teacher. And you wouldn't know it to hear me talk, but he was.
My mom was an English teacher,
really?
Too.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it's weird because, not weird, but it's just like when I was growing up, or somewhere in there, instead of reading like nursery rhymes, my dad would read Tale of Two Cities or The Raven, or, you know, that was kind of almost a required deal. He'd say, here, read this. And, you know,
yeah.
8, 9 years old, reading Tale of Two Cities. And I think it was important.
Yeah, my mom was really a fan of Russian literature.
Of what?
Of Russian literature.
Wow.
Yeah, we had a lot of cats, and they all had Russian names.
Wow.
Pushkin and Tolstoy and yeah.
Well, does that influence your writing? I would imagine that, you know, when I've listened to the Heartless Bastards, your songs, that the lyrics are important. You know,
definitely.
They're very important. You know that they've got to be just, like I say, I anguish over them. You know, even when I write a goofy song, you know, like Snake Farm or something, I still want it to be well written.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think, like as a growing up, and even now, sometimes I'm drawn to melodies first. Like that's the first thing that draws me into a song, but. I think with growing up, with my mom being an English teacher, right. And my aunt was also a huge fan of music and Bob Dylan, and she would always talk to me about lyrics. Like, it doesn't take a weatherman to know which way the wind blows. Yeah. She would always say that, or different quotes from songs. And so I think that even though melody's always been something I've been drawn to, initially, as I started writing as an adult, I thought about a lot of that, and it made me a lot more conscious of it.
Now, when did you first get your guitar? I mean, is that?
My dad sent me one for my birthday, I think, or Christmas. I think it was my birthday. It wasn't something I had asked for either. Mm-hmm. It was a complete surprise. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then I think I was 16, and I tried learning. You know, when you first pick up an acoustic, and it's like trying to press down the strings.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I was like, I didn't have the patience for it. But a couple of years later, when I was 18, I was like, gosh, I should really, if music is something I want to do with my life, I should probably go ahead and teach myself how to play guitar. And so I just started learning from there. Yeah.
It's really like when I first got one, there was, a silver tone, it was like $13.
That's a Sears guitar, right?
Yeah. And it was hard to play because, they were cheap, and the action was just, they would hurt your hands, and you'd get them, and you didn't know how to change strings, or you'd take these strings and you'd try to tune them, but you know.
Tuning, that was...
there was... you'd have to... God, how did I tune my first guitar? I think I took it to the elementary school and had to try to figure out... There was a little instruction book about tuning it to a piano. Uh-huh. So I'd have to count where the C was, but then there wasn't an open C on the guitar, so I'd have to hold the third fret down and try to tune. I'm going, and then it was an ordeal. So I just, so the only song I could learn was this old instrumental called Peter Gunn on the low E string. We go da 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 da.
I remember that song.
I'd play that, and I went, yeah, that's it. And I'd put it away, until I saw Murphy play, and then something just struck me that was it was like a very powerful moment to see a fella come out and say, "This is a song I wrote," and of course he was great, you know. And so that's when I kind of wanted to really pick it back up and try to do it, you know.
Oh.
Yeah, and it's a very mysterious process, though, isn't it? Writing.
Oh yeah, yeah, it really is. I don't even know a lot of times where my ideas come from anymore. I'm in the grocery store or something, and then a melody appears in my head.
Yeah.
And then, like, I usually tell myself that if it's a strong idea, I won't forget it.
Right.
But I feel like more and more my memory is just so bad that I just record everything, whether I go back and listen to it or not, just as a precaution. I'm like, maybe I've been throwing away good ideas for a long time. I don't know.
It kind of, I think, I guess I've been doing this long enough, you know, that I think it finally came down to where I kind of figured out or something that it was inspiration plus craft.
Yes,
you know,
I agree.
You know, what the inspiration, I guess what songwriters call the great aha. You go, aha, that'd be a good idea for a song.
Yeah.
You know, you get that inspiration. But then you got to take that and have a craft or know enough about it to where this inspiration will fit, whether it's a 12-bar blues or folk or whatever, you know.
Completing anything. I mean, there's so much self-discipline. I mean, at least for myself, that's my big struggle.
Another thing Kevin told me, said, you know, and I've really tried to prod this, is don't edit while you're writing it. You know, write and then go back and edit it, because a lot of time if I hit this line, then I'll just stay there, you know.
That's what I do. Yeah, I need to learn like a little bit of a different. I need to just start writing everything down.
And one of my favorite quotes is from Flannery O'Connor, and she said,
"Oh, I love her.
Never second guess inspiration. You know, whenever you get the inspiration, don't ever doubt it. You know? I mean, but it, you know, it is okay to rewrite." You know, and so that finally.
I do that, yeah.
You know, and so that's, you know, but then learning, like I say, I'm an old cat, man, and I didn't really get into like really writing until I was in my 40s, till I learned how to finger pick.
Oh, you know, I still want to learn how to finger pick.
Oh man, I'll show you 2 cool patterns that'll just open it up for me.
Really?
It just really, it helped me, because as I've gotten older, you know, learning new things, it's like learning to finger pick. That gave the song a door to come through that wasn't there before.
It's like trying an alternate tuning or something.
Then I learned open D, and all of a sudden these songs came through with that, and then open G, and then I got a slide, and then I, you know, got a mandolin, learned enough, and I got 3. So it's, you know, it's for me, like I say, I keep trying to learn new things. Yeah, man, it's been a couple of hours, and I'll show you these patterns, because I was 42, and that was not a very good age to be doing music at the time, you know, because everything had kind of changed. All the outlaw, you know, Willie and Waylon and Michael Murphy and Jerry Jeff was kind of over here, and all these kind of new things were coming in, you know, Garth Brooks and Clint Black and Brooks and Dunn and everything. And so I just didn't really have I didn't really have a career. You know, but I said, but I wanted to be a real songwriter, and I knew to be a real songwriter, I needed to play guitar better. I needed to really get good on guitar, you know, and so I started, actually took guitar lessons from a fellow in Dallas to learn how to finger pick.
I did that a few years ago. Yeah. This like kid came over to my house. He knows a lot more about guitar than me. Yeah.
But it was really, like I say, it really kind of, like right now, you know, I'm kind of doing that kind of, you know, the dirty groove thing, you know, kind of got back into finger picking, where I was doing a lot of Lightning and John Lee Hooker and Matt Lipscomb and, you know, that type vibe. And so it's a good place for me, because, you know, I kind of got that foundation, like I was talking about in folk music, where the lyrics are strong, but then now I could, you know, lay down a dirty groove, and they fit good together. So it's, you know, like I say, man, for an old cat, I'm still doing it. You know.
I said, hey, mama, I
I say, hey, mama, I believe my time ain't long. I just let me tell you about the songs that Now, is this last record the one that's coming out in June? Where did y'all record that? Y'all didn't? Is this a new one? The new ones?
Yeah.
Is this the Spoon one?
No, that was Arrow.
That was Arrow. Yeah. Okay. Where'd y'all do this last one?
At Sonic Ranch out in West Texas.
Oh, yeah.
It's on a pecan ranch.
Where is that?
Or farm.
Where's that near?
It's right outside El Paso.
That's right.
And it's like on the border of Mexico.
Yeah, the Dirty River Boys, I think, recorded there. I think.
Yeah, they have about 5 studios there, and so there was even multiple artists recording when we were there.
I've heard that's just a fantastic place.
It is, yeah. Yeah, it's really nice. It was the first time we've ever done a sort of location spot.
That's what I like about your records. They sound sonically cool and rude and rock. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
You know what I mean? I mean, they sound sonically. They just sound great. You know, and that's kind of the thing I tell people about my records is you may not like the singer and the songs, but you'll like the way it sounds.
Oh.
You know, because it sounds, cool. And
I'd say it's good all around.
Yeah, you got to do it. You got to do it. But we had a good time recording out there. But that's the first time we had gone on location and stayed a place and went in and recorded, and it was fun. It was different.
Is that where you did your record that's coming out, or the one before?
We did the last one at the Zone in Dripping Springs.
I'm not familiar. There's so many studios in Texas.
I did Snake Farm there, and it's a really good studio. It's Pat Mansky's an engineer down there, and Lloyd Main uses it a lot to record down there. But we recorded the tracks down there, and then we.
Is that Natalie Main's dad?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, great producer. He's produced. He did produce 3 of my records. He's done kind of the, I don't know. He's done some incredible records.
He's been producing a long time.
Yeah,
right?
Robert Earl Keen. He's done him. Joe Ely. He's just done a lot of records on those Texas guys.
Is it Lubbock?
He's out of Lubbock.
Okay, yeah.
He was in the Maines Brothers. Great band, and he's playing with Terry Hendricks now, but he's also producing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we cut down there, and then we did the rest of it at George Reeves' studio at his house up in up North Austin.
Oh, okay.
I'm kind of. I think being comfortable has a lot to do with recording for me. Finding a place that you're comfortable. Rather than just so technical.
Yeah, I it's really important to me to have a studio with sunlight.
Yeah,
it's like
really. Yeah,
I feel like a lot of the older studios, it's especially the ones from like the 70s. They didn't have any sunlight.
No.
And then I would be working in there like 10 hours a day or something, and it's like I might have seen like 20 minutes of sunlight the entire day, and it's kind of becomes like a cave, and I feel like. That's kind of like a definite. We did some studio tours for this last album, and there were some great studios, but I was like, I just can't work for weeks on end without sunlight.
I know. That's the thing about with George's house. It's his house, but it's it's an incredible studio, old gear, and everything. And we did a session there with Ronnie Dunn, and Ronnie, who's the Brooks and Dunn guy. We'd written some songs. He wanted to cut them, but he wanted to he wanted his record to kind of sound like my Grifter's Hymnal album. So I said, well, let's get the same guys and cut it at the same place. So he said, okay. So we got Mac, of course, in McLagan, and Brad Rice, who had played guitar with Sunvolt, and just a great cat. And then Rick and George, who'd been out with Joe Walsh, and then so we went to George's house, and so we walked in, and all of a sudden Ronnie Dunn, looked around and said, "George, I like your studio. Where do you live?" And he goes, like just making a joke, like, "I can't believe you got your your studio.
His house.
Yeah, your studio looks like a house. How cool is that?" And but I think it was really good of him because he's got a little. It sounds great, and he's done some great records there. The Band of Heathens and Shiny Ribs, and so it was good because they're in the little room I sing in has a window, and I like that too.
I guess once you find the perfect spots for what you're doing, it's
like I say, I think that comfort has a lot to do with it. Going in George's place, he's got the great gear, and it's just it's not like for me as a studio where you've got to this is $150 an hour. Oh, I better get this right.
Yeah.
I don't like that feeling at all. I've never cared for that.
Yeah, I can definitely. Yeah, time is money in the studio.
Got another question, please, off here, man. You're playing a gold top Les Paul, right? Yeah, is that heavy?
I have one from the 70s that's about double the weight.
About 14
I don't
pounds.
know if it's a lot. I don't know what they're doing with. I mean, this one is a reissue.
Yeah.
So I don't know what they're doing that makes it a lot lighter. Maybe there's some chambers in it. I
know. I saw a picture with that gold top, and I went, "Oh man, if that's 14 pounds, that's."
I'll be honest, I'm having some back issues right now. I am seeing a physical therapist, and I'm sure that Les Paul doesn't help.
Yeah.
But I love the way it sounds.
It's something about them, they're just really cool. And I just would know that I went, "Oh man, you're playing a Les Paul gold top. How cool is that?"
Yeah, I love it. And Ed Reynolds, you probably know Ed Reynolds, right?
Yeah.
He just totally refretted it and made it. It's just ever since then. Yeah.
My son Lucas has one, and he loves it. He's just we're kind of Gibson guys. I've just really liked Gibsons. I play acoustic guitar. It's one. It's really a strange guitar, but I love it. It's a 1958 Southern Jumbo body with a 1949 J45 neck. I found this neck in this place in Kentucky, and I bought it for $100. I just kept it around, and then a buddy of mine, Tony Nobles, who's a great luthier down in Wimberley, found this old Southern Jumbo. It had a horrible broken neck, and he put them together. And it's ugly and gnarly, but something about it is just righteous, And I put one of those D-Armond toaster top pickups on it so that I can play it through an amp, kind of that old. And I love it to death, man. It's just one of my favorite things. And that way, playing an acoustic into an amp, you can put a little dirt on it, when you do slide and all that stuff. But we're mostly kind of a Gibson family,
Me too. Yeah.
You play a J45, right?
And I
love those.
I have a ES125 hollow body.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Every guitar I play is a Gibson. I've always liked them.
I do too. When I was younger, I had some Martins, but then also I found a Gibson especially when I started playing a lot of kind of light, and John Lee Hooker did that kind of dead low E string, that thump, don't,
Oh yeah.
And I love that Gibson for that J45. Let me ask you this real quick, and so you got the guitar, you learned the guitar, and you started writing these songs, and you said, okay, next I got to get a band. Is that right?
Yeah, I started putting some songs together, which ended up being on the Heartless Bastards' first album. And I couldn't find a band.
Right.
I think that I don't think that many people took me seriously, initially. And my boyfriend at the time was like, "Why don't you just do stuff on the 8-track or record it yourself?"
Right.
And I don't play drums, but I put a lot of the parts together.
Right.
And then Dave, who plays in the band now, we used to be in a band together. We were the rhythm section. It was called Sheezus. We were an all-girl band initially, and then Dave joined later.
I like that. Yeah.
But Dave came to town, and we had a few days around the holidays, and we put this EP together.
Right.
And I did bring a couple friends in to do a couple of the songs, and then the rest I worked on with Dave on my own. And then I bartended, and I just started passing that EP out. I went through like 3 CD burners on my computer. I passed it out to everybody I thought might be even remotely interested in it. And then I think I got a real good response from the EP, and so a lot of people became familiar with the project in town, and it became easier to find a live band.
Cool.
So, yeah.
I'm at that age. I'm at that age now where it's get the gig, then get a band.
Yeah.
Because I went through, bands earlier on, and, you form a band, and you got to just, in those days, you just had to work. There were just the clubs. I mean, that was it. You just had to gig in order to, keep the band together and keep working. And, back in those days in Texas in the late 60s and 70s, there's a lot of really dumpy honky tonks out there where you just have to. There still are, and I still enjoy playing some of them. But
I kind of like a good dive bar honky tonk here and there.
It was just kind of consistent where you had to really just keep working all the time So
I feel like in especially in Texas or the Austin area, there's just so many musicians. It's almost like I think to get the gig and then find the band can work. But I feel like in Cincinnati, it's like a lot. It was a lot different in that sense.
Right.
There's just not nearly as many active musicians.
Right.
And
well, when I first came to Austin, there wasn't.
Oh, yeah, well, that's true too.
As an old cat, But no, I mean, when I first came to Austin, I guess it was in '60. Oh gosh, there was quite a in that time there was kind of Dallas, Austin, Houston. The folk music thing was just starting. There were these little folk music clubs in '63 and '64. Was one in Dallas called the Rubaiyat, one in Austin. Here there was a place called the Checkered Flag, and then in Houston was Sand Mountain, and there was just those were the only 3 places that you could, like a folk singer or songwriter could play. There was just no other places, so guys like, Towns was in Houston, he'd come up and play the Rubaiyat, and then come here and play the Checkered Flag. And
Steve Earle was living here at the time too, right?
I think Steve came a little bit later.
Okay.
I think he was probably in the 70s, I think. Somewhere around the 70s, early 80s, I think.
There's such a rich history here.
It really is. I mean, it was really pretty amazing, and it's still pretty amazing because there's some great musicians here in Austin. But it was just really pretty inspiring at the time in Austin. I mean, because but even before the progressive country outlaw thing happened with Willie and Jerry Jeff, there was just incredible. Just an acoustic scene here, like with Towns and guys. There was an old guy named Big Bill Moss and Alan Dameron, and Johnny Vandiver. They were just these incredible, powerful performers, and they would it was this whole folk vibe and cool vibe. It was just an amazing place. You go to a little club, you'd see Lightning Hopkins play, or Mance Lipscomb, and then you go to some, bar there in Dallas, and Freddie King would be playing. It was just it was inspiring. I felt very grateful to have seen those cats play, and it was quite a time, But that's the thing about Austin now; it's still magical as far as music goes,
Yeah, it's so diverse. I think too with what what's going on. Yeah.
What's the thing too about Austin too is all of a sudden you can't get a really big ego here. I mean, you kind of have a sense of humility because all you go, man, I wrote this song, this is great, and all of a sudden you walk in, there's McMurtry playing, or you walk in, there's John D. Graham. You know what I mean? It keeps you going, okay, you know what I mean? There's so many great musicians here and great songwriters that you gotta stay on top of it. You can't just phone it in. You gotta, know what you're doing, I guess, and everything. It's a lot of fun,
I definitely find it inspiring.
It really is, You ever get down to Wimberley? You familiar with it?
I've been there a few times. Yeah. I like that swimming hole, the Blue Hole.
Blue Hole, yeah. It's a good place, Like I said, we've been there almost 19 years. It's home.
I still haven't been to Hamilton Pool.
That's a good place. Yeah, it is.
I want to go to the winery there sometime too.
The winery?
Or just like a winery in general. Yeah. Oh, won't you come with me through the buzzing streets? I've been so lonely, I just can't keep from crying. Oh, won't you come with me? And then I find myself here in good company. You make the colors brighter.
Well, now, like when you write, do you use a computer? What's your process for that?
I'll get these melodies in my head. And at this point, I don't even feel like I sit down and try to write a melody. They just kind of happen. Like, it's almost like when I'm on autopilot. I notice when I'm driving a lot, I get inspired. And then I just go to the guitar and try to figure out a good key, because I noticed one thing I learned from my first record was that I really pushed my voice to as high as it could go, but then I was losing my voice on the road all the time. Yeah. So that's the second thing I do now is just figure out what key I'm gonna that it sounds best in, that I can actually sing every night.
Yeah, I kind of got a thing where I just feel kind of comfortable around, just E, that just, of course, I feel that's where kind of my old, I got a place where I feel comfortable, like I'm not really a real singer. I just kind of, can stay in here and keep it with it very pentatonic and bluesy, and a lot of them is almost talking, because boy, I tell you what, I found out, I've done a few things where, I've lost my voice, and that's really, boy, that's scary sometimes.
Yeah,
it is. Cancel a gig, and we've actually done a thing where I've got two sets of harmonicas. One of them is like standard tuning, and then the other set is full step lower. So I can go full step lower and still have my,
the harmonica.
Yeah, well, the guitar. I tune like instead of, like a D, I'll tune the guitar a whole step lower, so it'll be in C, and then I have a matching harmonica to play cross.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So I have two sets of harmonicas. I have for when I'm out on the road and I have to get a little strained. My voice will strain, then I can tune down a whole step and have all my harmonicas marked.
I do that too. Yeah. Or I don't tune down, but I will sing like a slightly different melody that's lower. Yeah. That kind of, maybe it could even be an existing harmony for the song. It's like I just start singing lower. Yeah. And because some of those higher ones are harder when you're sick.
Yeah. I just kind of I kind of enjoy, I got a comfort area where I feel comfortable in, with what I'm writing, especially like I say, with kind of the blues groove with some lyrics and not having to really do a lot of chord changes, I've actually written songs that just not only do they not change chords, they don't even rhyme.
I'm really into that. I like sometimes a drone.
Yeah.
It's like almost like a stream of consciousness sort of vibe to it, where it's like it really is about the story that's being told, or it kind of can be, I don't know if trancy would be the right word, but yeah.
Well, you get, like I say, I've really I've got to the point where I've written songs like that, and I've kind of gotten into that repetition trance groove, kind of the old, R.L. Burnside or some of those guys.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
You just get you get a good lick, and man, it'll work.
Yeah.
And you keep it interesting, and I enjoy that. Most of the time.
Me too.
So you doing what else you got going on after the record comes out? You're gonna be just hitting festivals and hitting it pretty hard?
Yeah, we're doing an East Coast tour, and I think we're gonna wait till the fall to do a lot of the rest of the touring. Yeah. Maybe some festivals here or there, but I guess I hear that other than festivals, like going into cities when a lot of people are on summer vacation, or you don't want to hit the college towns in the summers, so we're just gonna.
Well, you do anything else besides music? I mean, you write any other stuff, or do anything besides just songwriting and performing? You got any other interest?
I like to hike mountains.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man.
I do try to go out to West Texas a lot, or Montana.
Oh, and, wow.
I don't do the, like the, what is it, grapples or the...
mountain climbing type.
Yeah, I don't get into, like I would have no desire to ever do, like, Mount Everest, It's...
Just getting out, right?
Yeah, I just really like walking and nice scenery. Yeah. What about you?
Oh gosh, pretty much. Like I say, I don't know, man. It's just music is just so always there, kind of right in my face. That I'm always working on songs or writing or something, and
it's kind of hard to know where. Or I sort of interrupt. Pardon me, but I also find that it's kind of you're always kind of tuned into the possibility that writing might come up, so it's hard to shut it off sometimes, right? Well, I don't shut it off.
You got to keep that. It's like, I think it's I think Roger Miller or somebody's talking about songwriting. It's like you gotta keep part of yourself aware, so when that phone rings with a song on it, you answer it. You just don't blow it off. You know what I mean? So like you got to be, if wherever it is, that inspiration, wherever it is, you don't want to not be there when that phone rings with that song on it. Does that make sense?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, and it's like that too. Like I said, well, it's been really weird. I got a book coming out too. I wrote a book. I actually wrote my memoirs with a bunch of other stuff.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was about 2 years ago. A fellow named Tom Jurek, he writes for All Music Guide, an old friend of mine. We were just emailing back and forth, and I emailed this story about when I was, I guess, 19 or so. I was went up to play a club with Muddy Waters up in Omaha, and I was just telling this story about how after the gig we were all up in the office, and there's and I just typed me. I said after the gig we were upstairs, and Pine Top Perkins had an electric skillet and was making fried chicken, and Muddy they were drinking champagne. We were just kind of over here and watching all this, and the club owner was paying Muddy, right? So we're just up there kind of watching this, and all of a sudden the club owner's paying Muddy, and all of a sudden Muddy's smoking a cigar and drinking champagne, Pine Top's cooking chicken, and all of a sudden Muddy goes, that crowd down there, they love me. The club owner goes, yeah, Muddy, they did. And he goes, that audience down there, they love me. They love me. And he goes, yeah, Muddy, you were great. And he goes, you ought to give me a bonus. That guy gave him $200.
Oh, he did?
Yeah. I mean, I'm just going, to be there at that moment, at that time, to watch that go down. It's just, I've tried that and it doesn't work. But, and so I wrote that during that story, and he said, wow, that's an interesting story. And I said, yeah. And so I said, yeah, I did this. I said, well, you think that's interesting? Willie Nelson kidnapped me one time or something. So I wrote him that. He said, you should, write these things down. So I just kind of started writing these little, things that have happened. Like, when I was born in Oklahoma and we moved to Dallas, and how I got music, seeing Michael Murphy play in high school, and then and all that. So it was interesting to go back and write that, and try to make it, as literature,
Yeah.
I try to make it real, make it like a real book. And so that was, I enjoyed it, but like I say, it was an anguish too to get it right. But I feel good about it. And also put some stuff in there about, songwriting, about the inspiration and craft and all that stuff. So we'll see. But I enjoyed that. So that's that project's done, and then I got another screenplay I'm gonna try to finish and see how that goes.
Oh, wow.
Get my heart broken again. That usually happens.
I always think it would be nice to try something like that at this point, I guess. I haven't. Maybe one day.
I really, it was interesting to do it, and I think the next thing we're probably going to try to do is some sort of, kind of a songbook with lyrics and chords and something like that. Something like that. Maybe I've had a bunch of people ask me about my guitar playing, so we might try to do one of those instructional things or whatever, so we'll see. I never know, I mean, being, the musician and the husband and the father, that's a full-time job, seems like too, Did you ever do, so y'all going to do a video for this next record?
We are.
Yeah?
Yeah. We actually film it on Monday and Tuesday.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Where about you doing it? Around here, or?
It's in the Austin area, but I actually have no idea where yet.
Yeah.
But it should be fun.
I did a thing, it's really weird, I can't recommend this for everybody, but, I sleep with the president of the record label.
Oh.
Which is my wife, which is not Clive Davis, that's my wife, Judy,
Yeah.
so. And I'm really in a good position to where, she says, go write your songs and write about whatever you want, and then I'll try to, sell them. So that's a great place for me to be, because I can write without having to, think about the future of what I'm writing. Will people like this? Will it sell? Will it be a hit? I don't have to do that. I can just, write about, blackbirds talking,
Yeah.
And so that's a good place to be, and so we were getting ready to do the last record, and, we didn't have a budget for a video, so I said, well, I'll do it. So I got 8mm app on my phone and got on iMovie and made a video, to be.
Oh, yeah.
It was fun, I did one of my songs called South of the River, and I put a little disclaimer on it. I said, if you see any of the people that are in this video, don't tell them they're in this video. Because
I
didn't get permission.
It was a bit of candid.
Yeah, I used Hayes, and I put Joe Walsh in there and Ringo Starr and my band. So I just said, if you see anybody in this video, don't tell them they're in the video. And it was cool. They I was very fortunate that Joe and Ringo liked it and thought it was funny. But I just did it myself. I took about a week and learned it, and it was very. It was almost empowering to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And then because I knew that my video, it wasn't going to be shown on TV or CMT or anything. It was going to be shown on the phone, or people would do it on the computer.
Yeah.
So I didn't have to do it 35mm or 16mm. I could just do it on my phone, and it's been pretty cool. I had old about 20,000 people see each one. So
I was thinking about that. We're doing some treatments for other songs, and some people we've talked to have asked if I had any ideas, and then I thought, well, I wonder if some of these I could attempt to try at some point, or learn how to do that.
Dirty blonde, black roots, Cuban heels, suede boots, Gretsch drums, blackface amp, a 65 vibrant champ, bottle lightning, heating a can, sloppy cool, two-piece band, short dress, torn stockings, that chick's singer is badass rockin', badass rockin', badass rockin', that chick's singer.
So how's your songwriting evolved?
I
mean, from when you first started, like I say, with getting guitar and trying to learn those chords, and then putting the guitar down and then picking it up again.
I think that, I'll have to think about how to, I will say on some things I've second guessed certain lyrics here or there, that maybe I later regretted, like I should have gone with that first instinct.
Right.
And I would say maybe just sort of putting that sort of thought out there. The initial, I think that that's definitely something to sort of trust my gut a little bit more with that, sort of not holding back as much.
Yeah, well, like I was, like I say, I feel very fortunate to have the freedom to write about whatever I want to, and like even if, when I first started off, it was pretty much folk songs. It was pretty much, G minor, C, D, verse, chorus, bridge.
Yeah.
And try to do a very folky thing, very kind of a, Gordon Lightfoot sound, or that vibe, and and that was, and like I say, I was really fortunate that the lyrics were very important to me, of being able to start off with, the integrity, I think, of folk music lyrics, rather than just like, kind of doo-wop, nothing wrong with that, but it just, those lyrics, were kind of simplistic to me. I'm really glad I, got into music lyrics that had depth and weight, and then now where it is I've gotten with my guitar playing, that, like I say, that marriage of that. So it's evolved, but then some of it, I hope it's kind of de-evolved, going back to the original roots, to the original, dirty, low-down groove, where it's almost like taking away kind of the acoustic 12-string jangle, and just go back down to a gnarly old, E without the third. You know what I mean? Just that, just where it's just primal almost. And that's and I feel it's a good place for me to be. I think for right now.
I think that rhythm is something that across, it's just something natural to humanity.
Right. Yeah.
And primal. I think that like the sort of root of that, like no matter how much the music can evolve in some senses with computers,
right,
and this or that, I think sometimes back to the basic rhythms with drums or guitars, or just sort of this part of there's something within us all that responds to that, and I think always will.
Well, it's like that, the group you got now, the Heartless Bastards, like I say, we're kind of talking, it's got this, it's got this, really kind of raw, cool, dangerous aspect to it. You know what I mean? Where rock and roll should be like that. The attitude of it is like, hey, this is, we're a band, we're coming out here, we're here to rock, but we also got something to say with integrity. You know, that like there's something about you that I don't know, and I don't mean to, hope you don't take this wrong, but I don't think you care about being a celebrity. I think you care about being a songwriter. You know what I mean? And there's a difference when I see people like that. You know, and that's the thing. I think that it's going to affect more people in the long run. You know, is caring about the music and what you write. Oh my goodness. You know, which is important, you know. Like I said, I found, you know, I'm an old cat, and I feel, you know, able that for an old cat that I'm still doing what I really love to do. And, you know, right now, things are really going well. I mean, there's been years in the past where on my income tax form, I've just been above hobby status. but now, yeah, I'm okay. Are we done?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry,
Oh.
Pardon me.
Oh, it's all right.
Just feeling a little emotional today.
Oh, well, you know, I meant what I said. You know.
Thank you.
It really is. I think that's the writers I like. They seem to have that quality about them. You know. I mean, I started off pretty much playing guitar for, you know, beer and girls. But then somewhere in there, what I think really came important to me was trying to, you know, write the best songs I can. You know, and that's, you know, like I say, sometimes when I write a goofy song, I go, well, it's well written. And it's in
well, it's about pleasing yourself, right?
Well, it's about knowing some part of us, I think, knows that. Something within us, there's a part of us that know when it works.
I think that's what I meant as far as songs, like as a writer, for myself evolving, is I think that I might second guess a lyric or this or that and change it, and maybe there's like, should I really put that out there in the world or say that? And at times I've changed some, and I think later on, a few of them here or there I've regretted, and I think more and more I should go with my first initial instinct. And in both ways, I might say the exact same thing, but maybe in a little bit more of a little bit more of a guised way, I guess. So, yeah.
Well, cool. Well, I've enjoyed this.
Yeah, really. This is fun.
And it's up against the wall, redneck mother, sing along, relive your wasted youth. Mother who has raised sons so well, so well. Now he's 34, drinking in a honky-tonk. He's a kicking hippies' asses and raising hell.
After they finished talking, Ray offered to give Erika some lessons in finger-picking guitar. I can't wait to hear how that turns out. This is Michael Azarad, Editor-in-Chief of the Talkhouse, and that's it for this episode of the Talkhouse Music Podcast. Thanks to our producer-engineer, Elia Einhorn. For more Talkhouse Music podcasts, and for lots of great writing about music by some excellent musicians, by all means visit thetalkhouse.com/music.